Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Diamonds Rough podcast. Joined by Mike. We talking about some NBA draft and a lot of other storylines. I don't know which ones to start with. We got John Morant, 25 game suspension. Bradley Beal traded to the Suns. Zion's got a lot of stuff, but or we could start with draft stuff. Do you have a preference, Mike?
Let's do Bradley Beal.
Let's do Bradley Beal. Okay, so we don't know the full details of the trade yet because I believe the Wizards are trying to find a third team for Chris Paul, which makes no sense to me. Like, what team is going to accept, Chris Paul and all that money? And not only that, why would the Wizards not just keep him, buy him out so they can protect picks? Because if you're getting rid of Chris Paul, you got to trade picks. And the point of the Bradley Beal trade is rebuilding. You're not getting anything of value. You're getting a bunch of second round picks, which kind of locks the Suns into what they have. They have like no firsts and now no seconds. But you get a true third star. And I think Bradley Beal will excel as the third star, not the number one.
I don't really like the. I mean, it's a good. I mean, you have to do it if you're the Suns. It's a no-brainer. But I just don't think it's going to help them too much because I'm a big. I think that you need to have depth in order to win a championship nowadays. I think we've seen that since 2019. We haven't really seen a super team win since the KD super team of the Warriors. The Raptors weren't a super team and they won. Then you had the 2020 Lakers. They were not a super team.
I don't like super team to me just doesn't make sense. What are you saying? 3 stars or more?
Well, yeah, like the Suns are a super team. They have Beal, they have Durant, they have Booker, and they have Ayton. So they're definitely a super team.
Aiden's gonna be gone.
We'll see. I'll believe it when I see it.
Okay. They did say like day after they lost, Aiden is not gonna be back and he'll be traded. But we'll see. It
I
also makes sense for them to trade him.
Yeah, I mean it's a good move to get Beal. The problem is if they don't trade Ayton for a bunch of depth pieces, then I don't think it's a good move because you need to have some bench pieces, and they're very thin right now. They need to fill 7 more roster spots out, and they've got no money at all. So yeah, they're gonna have to trade Ayton in order to get
So
any bench pieces.
my thought, what I've been saying to people, so I'm like, look, you got Beal for like nothing. It's
Right.
something to you because you don't have picks. So all those seconds actually, you know, when you take a second round pick, you're hoping for a role player, which is what they need. So it is something, but in general, you're not really giving up any value. I'm just like, I need to see what else they do, right? If you're telling me the
Yeah.
starting roster is going to be like Kendrick Nunn, Beal, Booker, Durant, and like JaVale McGee, and then your bench is consisting of like
Cameron Payne,
Cameron Payne and
Torrey Craig. I
I
don't
you
know.
know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a bad move, it's kind of a whatever move to me. But what I'm personally envisioning, what I think could happen is because of the CBA, all these like 15 mil plus guys, their value immediately drops because teams can't pay all that much. And I think there's going to be a bunch of guys who look and they're like, hey, how am I going to boost my value? Probably go to a contender. I'm thinking guys like it wouldn't surprise me if Dylan Brooks goes there for like the minimum.
I heard he could get 15 on the market, but I know what you're saying. I get what
You
you're
know what I'm
saying.
saying? Like I look, I don't have like I
Individual.
looked through a list of guys I thought, but I'm thinking like Seth Curry's could go there for a minimum. Right? Guys like that. Those are valuable guys that can help you. I know Pritchard is an option for them, and that to me is a starting point guard for them. I think there's guys who will go there for very cheap that you'll be like, that's a good, valuable piece. They don't need much, right? With those 3 guys, you don't need much. You need guys who are going to say, okay, I'll play on your team for 10 minutes and I'll give you good defense, make good passes, and hit open shots. There's a lot of talent in the league. There's guys I feel like who can do that. I think Danny Green probably is washed, but like, I don't know. Could he do that? Probably. Would he get the do it for the minimum? Probably considering how much money he's made. There's guys. So I just need to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good point. Just wait and see. But yeah, you can't bring Aiton back. I mean, you brought Aiton back last year after all the drama and it didn't work out. I mean, are you really going to bring him back another year after all the drama? And you could probably get some pieces for him. But the only issue is if you do trade Ayton, who's going to be the guy who stops Jokic or tries to stop him? That's going to be the issue. So yeah, it's a tough situation for Phoenix, but they get Beal for basically free because of a no trade clause that really gave Beal all the power. So I
I
mean,
mean, I don't think the report is he didn't say no to a Heat trade. That's what people were thinking because like that's all you got. But apparently they liked Phoenix's offer more.
I,
Now, I don't something I thought is I think the Heat was Kyle Lowry, Duncan Robinson, and picks. The Wizards probably just want expiring contracts because they're rebuilding. They probably don't want to have to hold on to Duncan Robinson for like 3 or 2 more years. I don't know how much he has left on his deal. They probably don't want that. That's probably why they preferred Phoenix's offer. Like, is Miami's first round pick that would be in 30? Is that more valuable than like 3 or 4 seconds? I don't know.
they wanted Tyler Hero badly, and the Heat wouldn't give him Tyler Hero. And I don't think they wanted. I think to your point, I think Aiton's a little older, so they know that if they get Ayton, he's a little older, and they want to rebuild, and at least Tyler Hero's near that age of rebuilding. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Yeah, I also think with Tyler Hero, depending on how you construct the team, he's not a guy who's going to keep you at the 12 seed. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole thing with Beal is he's keeping you from like 9 to 12 seed. He's you're stuck there with him. Getting rid of Beal now, you can just tank. So that means
yeah,
Kuzma's going to be gone. You're going to let Porzingis go. Here's the big issue with me. First off, about time the Wizards did this. Second, should have never signed him to that contract.
yeah,
Never should have done it. And I think 90% of NBA fans said that.
yeah. It's a big contract.
The other thing is you knew this was the draft. We have known the Wembanyama draft for years,
Yeah,
right? I heard of this guy and started researching him when he was like 15. So I knew he was going to be the number one pick whenever that time came. You should have traded him to try to boost your odds now, right? You're tanking for next year's draft, which we'll get into in the future, but sucks. Like it's not a strong draft at all. So that's why it doesn't make sense to me, but I'm glad that at least they're going in a direction. I'm tired of teams, being okay, being mediocre, or fighting for an 8 seed. Like it's pointless. Go in a direction. So at least they're doing that. Um, that's about all my thoughts. I think it's tough to judge when there's so many moves that still need to be made. Like we haven't even gone through the draft.
Yeah. My only other thought on the Wizards would be hopefully they can get Porzingis to a contending team. And I'm on the team to I would like the Celtics to go for him. So we'll see if that happens. But that's like for me, that's like my top move as a Celtic fan that I would want. I don't know if
Mhm.
other teams are linked to him, but that's what I would do. But we'll see. It's early.
It is early, and that's why I don't want to say it was shocking because like the draft is coming up, so it makes sense that a deal
Yeah.
was made. But it was very fast, and I think that is usually how these things go. Um, it was just all these years it was like Beal isn't getting traded, and now he's getting traded at a time that not doesn't make sense, but it's like why wait so long? Like why? But that's that. Do you have any opinions on the John Morant suspension?
I'm actually glad it's only 30 games. I
25,
mean,
right?
I think it's 20. Yeah, 20. Yeah, you're right. 25. Yeah, I'm glad it was only 25. Hopefully, I mean, look, there's a lot. Not supporting him at all. I think that he's got a lot of problems. Obviously, my bigger issue is him beating up all those people
Mm.
outside of this whole thing. So they should probably include that. We'll see what the charges are for that because I heard that might be going to trial soon. But maybe he'll finally change. But I mean, dude, I mean, I have seen nothing that has shown me he's going to change. If he does it again, he's done for at least another year for the season. So he better clean up his act real quick. But 25 games, I think is serviceable. You don't want to suspend him, more than that because then you're going to affect the Grizzlies season and the ratings and all that. So hopefully he gets his act together. 25 games seems suitable in my opinion.
The thing I said when I was playing like youth sports, I had a coach that he would For instance, say it was a baseball practice and a base runner makes a stupid decision, but he's safe. The coach would call you out on principle. Basically, you're being an idiot. I don't care that you were safe. You shouldn't be doing that. I'm going to call you out. I feel like that's this John Morant thing where no, he's not breaking any laws, right? Like, obviously, I think it's bad when it's like you have young, impressionable kids, and he's kind of like the face of this new generation because he's so exciting and all that. So he does have an impact and a voice. So when he does that, there are kids who are impressionable that might think it's cool. I almost think it should be more on principle because you did it. You apologized. They went really easy on you. They said 8-game suspension, but he had missed like 6 and they counted them, right? They went really easy on him. And the fact you do the same exact thing again, I'm like, to me, that it almost should be more. I'm fine with 25. I really don't care that much. But I'm saying, to me, the only argument I have is on principle, maybe it should be more because you're just an idiot. You did the exact same thing that we went, don't do that. And
What
the
would
thing
you have
that,
given him?
I like 30, 35. Like, I think my thing is I would want the games now to be eliminated from the awards of 65. I'd probably want to, well, I guess 25 does eliminate them from that. It's 80, yeah, so never mind. But I don't know. I think like 25, it's good, but you know, for me, there's like a 5-10 game tax for just you did the exact same thing, you idiot. But what also annoyed me is his team thinks like the NBA and the media is out to get him. And it's like, you know, obviously it's your client. You're going to be a little biased, but you should probably be controlling your client and controlling his Instagram. I know it was his friend's Instagram. He did it on the second time, but you should probably make sure that I think it was his friend's Instagram.
Yep.
Should probably surround him with better people after the first incident, right? Should probably be like, hey, you're going to lose out on millions and millions of dollars. Because that's the thing. I think he's losing 7 million because of the suspension.
Yeah.
You know, probably should get your act together is my thing. So I think his team needs to check themselves and not blame other people. But
Agreed.
that's all that stuff. The Zion stuff is wild. For those who don't know, there is an actress who I'm trying to PG this, man. Zion and her have hung out, let's say. And you know, the girl basically isn't too happy about him and was talking about how she was trying to keep him in shape and there's like empty soda cans all over his bathroom and stuff. Like basically just being like he's fat. Going on this long rant. And then recently she said she would release a video of the two of them if he doesn't get traded, which is weird to me. It's like you just don't want him in New Orleans anymore. So you're gonna release it and you're like tagging the NBA at the Pelicans. Like you gotta trade
crazy.
him. She is crazy. But this is so funny to me.
Yeah.
Like Zion, like this like actually confirms the whole like he doesn't care. He doesn't get it. Like to me, it confirms the whole like he's not gonna get it together. And you can't, to me, he's similar to Kyrie, where it's like you can't pay him a max. He's a if you want him, he's a year by year thing because you cannot rely on him.
Where do you think he's gonna go?
I hope not, Charlotte.
I heard you guys are definitely in it.
Yeah, I heard that too, and I really hope it's not because the Pelicans have said they want Scoot. Don't blame them.
Yeah.
And Zion is on the table for Scoot.
I heard that you guys wanted Ingram too, though. I don't know.
The Hornets, who I am a fan of, I don't know if I've mentioned it. Unfortunately, it's been a tough time. At least I'm a Celtics fan, but that's also been a tough time recently. So, the Hornets it's kind of enticing to get Zion, honestly, you know. Um, but it's not something I want them to do. I want it to just be, look, I feel in the draft. I guess this is us transitioning into the draft. When you're a bad team, and make no mistake, the Hornets are a bad team, you take the best available, no question. You have a guy on the board at 2 who is number 1 in 85 to 90% of drafts over the years. He just happens to be in the same draft as Victor Wembanyama. I understand your point guard is LaMelo Ball. You pick Scoot Henderson, LaMelo's 6'6", you put him at shooting guard. He can't defend anyway. It doesn't really matter if he's a point guard or shooting guard. So I just think you do that and you figure it out from there. And it's tempting. Zion, when he's healthy, like maybe a top 20, top 15 guy, you pair him with LaMelo, whatever. It's just not worth it. It's really not worth the hassle. I don't think Charlotte has shown in any way that they can fix someone or make sure guys don't get in trouble. Over the years, we've had Devontae Graham had an incident. James Bouknight had an incident. Miles Bridges had multiple incidents. He had the thing with his girlfriend, but he also had the Instagram post of him drinking lean. Right? Like, they haven't shown they can exactly, like, and I'm not saying you have to control guys, but they're like kind of the Raiders of the NBA, where whoever they bring, trouble comes with them, it seems. So I don't trust them to fix the Zion thing. I'd rather them just take a guy who's the number 1 overall pick in most years.
Scoot. Aren't they not productive to get him, though? Isn't it Miller they're going after?
Well, it was.
Oh, so now it's changing.
Michael Jordan
It's
sold
gone.
the team.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
I think
You must have been doing jumping jacks.
Oh, I was so happy. I think 30 minutes after he sold the team, the report comes out that Scoot and Brandon Miller both worked out for the Hornets, and Scoot was a lot better than Brandon Miller.
Yeah.
That's the reporter's way of kind of like saying they like Scoot more. You know, they can't outright say it. But I guess my brother told me this. I didn't actually fact check it. But Jordan's bringing Scoot and Brandon Miller back for a workout. I don't know how that works. Didn't he sell the team? Or is it like, I'm doing the draft and then I'm done? I don't exactly.
He's still involved, just helping the transition. It's like Danny Ainge when he was helping the transition for Brad. He's not going to have power.
Right. I think he just wants to work them both out, and he's actually going to be.
I mean, he's Michael Jordan.
But there's no way Brandon Miller can outperform Scoot in like a workout. Scoot's just too skilled, too athletic. He jumps out at you. Right. But I guess that's my Hornet. Like, I've told my brother, if you hear screaming, it's because the Hornets didn't draft Scoot Henderson. That's the reason. Because I'm all in on it. I really want it to happen. And if it doesn't happen, it's just going to be more suffering.
Well, I when a new ownership comes in, John, I hate to break it to you, but they like to make a big splash. And Zion and Ingram would be a big splash, but I would do the Scoot. I would go get Scoot if I were the Hornets.
Okay, I will say this. If you're getting Zion and Ingram and you're getting rid of like Hayward and Rozier.
Yeah.
I don't hate that. I'd prefer you just take the, in my opinion, safer option, right? Taking a rookie isn't necessarily safe, but I'm just very high on the guy. I've liked the new, like, you take a G League player and they're just ready to go. And he's now been in the G League for 2 years. I understand he didn't play many games, but he's, still practicing like he is an NBA player. Even college athletes don't necessarily have that luxury. I'm not saying they have to spend a ton of time in the classes or the books or whatever, but it's a responsibility they still have. when you're in the G League, you are 110%. I'm an NBA player. I'm going to prepare like an NBA player. You're playing NBA level competition. I think that's a huge advantage.
Yeah, I
So
think for sure. I mean, I like the college way, but I get what you're saying. But yeah, I mean, I would go the scoot route just because LaMelo Ball's still pretty young,
I
and you
also
want
want
to
him
keep your
traded, but that's a
stars.
separate thing.
Hey, maybe you can get Brandon Ingram for LaMelo Ball.
I do that.
You're gonna get William. You're gonna get Zion, and I'm gonna call you, and you're gonna be pissed.
If it's just Zion, I'll be pissed. If it's Zion and Ingram, I'll deal. Just whatever. I feel like it's just gonna make me sad if I keep thinking about it. So let's move on to just the main man, the
Yeah,
guy, the demigod,
is that his
who
nickname now?
my nickname for him.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm incredibly high on him. I know a lot of people are. But Victor Wembanyama, who is a 7'4" freak who can shoot and dribble, and play make and rebound, and defend. There's nothing he can't do. He's going to the Spurs. I don't know if there's any doubters there, but he's going to the Spurs, number one. And I've already said some outrageous things.
Yeah.
I think rookie year, the Spurs are making the playoffs,
Jeez.
and I think he's making an all defensive team.
Does Giannis do that?
No, Giannis was not good as a rookie.
God.
But the one thing that everyone mentions, which just shows what type of prospect he is the injuries. It shows what type of prospect he is because no one's saying nothing about his game. Everyone knows he's incredible, right? But it's, he's 7'4" if he gets hurt. I get it. I think there's a lot of fear when it comes to, you look at certain guys like, Porzingis was a high pick. He got hurt. Look what happened to him, right? Ralph Sampson, another guy. If you do your research, look at the amount of work Victor Wembanyama and his team have done already to like prevent injuries. He is doing hours of working out on like footwork and injury prevention. They are very aware of the situation and how it's millions and millions of dollars relying on his health. And they are prepared for it. I'm not, anything can happen, obviously, but it's something I'm willing to bet on. There was a play in their season where he literally did like the splits, and it looked like he tore something, and he got up and was completely fine. Like there's been plays where you're like, oh, that's scary. Oh no. And he's just completely fine. So he's just the guy I'm betting on. I know he has the work ethic. I know he has the leadership. I mean, I loved when he's like, I don't care that I'm the number one pick. I'm playing my season. I think he's about to go win the championship there.
Oh, they still playing?
I know he's in the finals. I don't know if it finished. I can look that
The
up.
French league, right?
Yes, which is a competitive league for those who are skeptical. So he's another guy where it's like he's pro ready. He's played pro level competition. But yeah, I'm about as high as you can be on this guy.
I can tell. Too bad Charlotte's at 2. Oh, I just rubbed it in. Damn, never mind.
Oh, I'm glad my brother wasn't home for that. I was screaming.
You had your heart ripped out.
See. Oh, they actually got swept.
Uh-oh, John. That's not good.
Doesn't change my opinion, but
Okay. John just changed his entire
yeah,
opinion.
could you imagine? All right, take everything back. I'm gonna look at the other team. You can keep going. I just wanna
Yeah, I
if you
think
have anything on it,
I think he's gonna be really good. Like everyone else, I sound really like a normie right now, but I think he's gonna be good. I don't think I don't know about rookie of the year. I mean, but
You wouldn't pick him for rookie of the year?
It depends on if he stays healthy, obviously, if he plays a lot of games. But yeah, he should get. I mean, him or Scoot are probably gonna be the favorites, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I mean, nothing you said was outrageous. I mean, if you would have said like they're winning the championship this year, then I would be like,
No.
it's outrageous. But I mean, making the playoffs in the West, I think a play-in is more of a. I think play-in is more realistic than the playoffs, to be honest with you, because of how good the West is.
I'm
But
not necessarily saying they're a 6 seed. I'm saying like if they make the play-in, I think like they'd win
okay,
and be a playoff team. They're losing first round.
but so you think they're better than the Thunder?
I think. Well, I mean, probably not, but I like we need to see how stuff
Yeah.
works out, right? Like I just like Wembanyama is going to be your guy. I think like they're going to have an incredible defensive team. I think the scoring will be tough because you are kind of relying on like Vassell, Keldon Johnson, who are solid players. But your starting lineup's going to be big. It's going to be like Vassell at the 2, Keldon Johnson at the 3. Wemby's your 7-4 guy,
Yeah.
but Sohan will be your 4. So
Yeah.
they're not big other than center, actually. They're just a bunch of wing defenders who have some offensive ability. Guards are going to be a weakness for them. But it'd also be interesting if like they sign Austin Reeves or something, you know? Like, but you'll find this funny. The star on the team that beat them, you remember Mike James,
Yep.
the Nets guard?
Yeah.
He's their
Yeah.
star.
Wow. He beat Victor Wembanyama. I can't even pronounce his last
Victor
name. Wow, that's
Wembanyama.
crazy.
Yeah.
Add that to the resume.
Add that to the resume. Okay, so that's the 1 pick. That's what I hope is the 2 pick.
Yeah, I like to talk about 3. It's very interesting.
So Brandon Miller, for me, if I was doing like a mock draft and where I'd pick a guy, I'd pick him 6.
Wow.
It rubs me the wrong way when you get to March Madness and you just can't produce.
Yeah.
I feel like this is something that's gone under the radar. I was high on him after he had his whole, giving the murder weapon to a guy, which for some reason teams don't care about
Yeah.
and are like, speaks higher on his character, is what I've heard. Crazy. Woj said something absurd in the draft lottery. I don't know what you heard it. It was some like along those lines of teams actually like think higher of him based on what they've talked to. Some stupid.
Woj is just a mouthpiece.
Yeah, he said some absurd things in that broadcast. But so that happened. Then he has to go to South Carolina for a game. So that's a big crowd. Obviously, they're saying some crazy things at him. I think he scored like 41 and had the bucket to send it to OT and then the game winner in OT. Like he had an incredible game, showed a lot of mental toughness, I thought. And I was like, oh, that's going to catapult him in the draft. But then this March Madness stuff, I feel like sweep it under the rug people have been doing. And his March Madness stuff kind of reminds me of a lot of like Aiden, where I don't know if people remember, but I think Arizona lost in the first round when Aiden was on the team. And coming out of it, everyone was going, why didn't he just dominate and take over the game? Because I think he was playing against a center that was a lot shorter than him. And it was like, you're the number 1 overall pick. Just dominate and take over. Like you're not playing against any competition. And even thinking about more, if you want to really dig deep into it, Ben Simmons is another guy where he was a number 1 overall pick and people kind of just swept the whole LSU didn't even make the tournament thing under the rug. They were under 500. He kind of quit on the team because he knew he was going number 1. And watching so much sports, I think I've kind of come to that where I can't understand the mentality of a player because I don't get the luxury to like interview them and ask them questions and things like that. But when my eyes are showing me some certain things of like Brandon Miller, number one overall seed heading into the tournament, and he's shooting like 20% in the tournament, he's turning the ball over a lot. He's kind of struggling to help the team win, it seems like. Not able to really take over. I'm going to note that. And if I'm a team picking in the top 5, I'm trying to get a star, right? So in my ranking, my 3 is Cam Whitlock, Villanova guy. I know Villanova did not have a great year.
No.
Kind of attribute that to not having, one of the greatest college coaches of all time. Probably some changes that weren't smart. But I get a lot of like Jaylen Brown vibes from him. I don't know if you agree with that.
Maybe. I was never really impressed with him, but I understand why he's projected high. He was like one of the only scorers on that team, but
They did not have a good team.
no.
I think
No,
like
I mean the Justin guy had an injury. He didn't play till later in the year, which didn't help, but yeah, no.
so with him, I think incredible athlete, great defender. There's things in his offensive game that need work, but I feel like when you're looking at a prospect, he has the things you love to see, and then there's things he needs to work on. And every prospect has things they need to work on. Jaylen Brown went 3 and people thought it was a reach because they're like, oh, it's just some athletic guy. And it's like Jaylen showed things in college, showed he was a great defender, showed he was an incredible athlete. He showed he was pretty good at finishing at the rim, and he had some willingness to pass, and his shot form looked good. He didn't shoot well. It looked good. Cam Whitlock, I get similar things. Supreme athlete, great defender. His shot looks good. It's inconsistent, but it looks good. So that's my 3. I'm looking at potential. I'm looking at, I feel like there's been a college prospect who's elite in the NBA who's just like that. And then 4 and 5, which this is, I'm not going to act like not a risk, but I have both the Thompson twins. I have Amen ahead.
The G League, right?
They're in it's the second year of this league called Overtime Elite.
Okay, yeah.
I'm going to kind of explain it to the best of my ability. Overtime is basically some social media basketball brand kind of thing. And they essentially created this league. And I think they had one guy in the draft last year. They got these twins, which I feel like this is an underrated storyline people aren't talking about. There's these 2 twins that are like the exact same that are both consensus like top 8 picks. I feel like we go crazy whenever there's brothers or twins in a league. These are 2 twins that are elite prospects. But so the things with the overtime elite, which is why this is a risky prediction on my part, is like competition's different, right? They are preparing like they're true basketball players, right? They're not like in school or anything like that. It's all basketball, all basketball. It's kind of a bunch of like 5 to 3 star players in a league together. And it's not exactly as organized as like college or any of these pro leagues or the G League or anything like that. It's kind of its own thing. But dudes are playing to 100% of their ability, and there's a bunch of skilled guys, but everyone's like really young. So this is something we've never really seen. It is kind of tough to judge, but I do think they're playing against talented players. I think there may be a bit of a jump in the sense of strength, because I think you're going to go into the league and there's like a different level of strength, like some grown man strength, because they're like 18-year-olds playing against 18-year-olds, right? But they are both supreme athletes. I Hauser, who's projected to go lower. He's a better defender off the ball than Amon, and he has a more polished game and better handles. Amon is a better passer and pick and roll player, still a great defender. And I think that's why he's being projected higher, because he is probably more of your superstar, give him the ball at the end of the game, whereas Auser's more of your like do it all type of guy, maybe. But watching them, Amon specifically, and I hate to do comparisons. I hate it. But Amon has the explosiveness when you watch him. It's similar to John Morant. It's actually incredible the type of athlete both of them are. I'm willing to take the risk, even though there's the question mark of the whole league thing. But if you can get a 6'7" kid, both of them, 6'7" kids who have a lot of offensive ability and want to play defense and play defense really well, I'm willing to take a risk on that. So that leaves Brandon Miller at 6, which he's a very talented guy. I just worry about the mentality of him when it comes to being really bad at March Madness. Like, it was really bad. I don't like first game against the 16 seed. He didn't score. Had 0 points, 3 assists, 3 turnovers. And I think the second game he had maybe like, I'll look it up just so I'm making sure I'm right here. But the second game was better, but he had 19 points, only 1 turnover, but he shot 30% from the field. And then his final game where they lost, he shot 16% from the field, 9 points, 6 turnovers. And that was against a very tough defensive team in SDSU. More like an NBA type atmosphere, I feel like, where it's tough physical defense. But that's why I'm at 6. So if the Hornets, for instance, drafted him at 2, would not be happy.
I feel like the Hornets are gonna make you a very mad man the Thursday night.
I think so too. But those are my thoughts on like the top guys. I don't know if you have anything to add.
My question to you would be: do you think that the Trailblazers are gonna trade their pick at 3 or pick the Villanova player that you were talking about?
I don't know anymore with Portland. Portland's so frustrating to me because it would make the NBA so much better
Dame,
if they would trade Dame, get assets. Then they have this young, exciting team where, let's say they take Whitmore at 3. You have Simons at the point. You have Whitmore. You have Shaden Sharp. 3 incredibly athletic, skilled guys that just get free reign to do whatever they want. That's fun and exciting. And then Dame actually gets to go to a contender and try to play for a championship, something we haven't seen in a while. He needs to be on a good team. I love his loyalty, but there is no possible way Portland can create a good enough team. It requires getting rid of Simons because you can't play Dame and Simons together and trading that 3 pick for something. The only team that has a guy like that is Jaylen Brown. I don't think the Celtics are taking 3 and Simons for Jaylen Brown, even if Scoot fell to 3. That just doesn't make sense. So I don't see a world where you trade the 3 and you make your team so much better that you're a contender. I think they keep it. I don't know if Dame has a preference on any guy, but I would guess they would take Whitmore for the upside and the potential. but I'm really not sure with them anymore.
Yeah. You
The
know,
only
if
thing
they
I know is Shaden Sharp is untouchable. That's it.
if they made the Dame trade to Miami, like the rumor is that that's where he would go, or Brooklyn. If you do it with Miami, you could potentially get Tyler Hero back. Pair that with the 3 pick. You could get other picks, or if you trade him to Brooklyn, you could potentially get Cam Johnson or someone. I mean, Cam Johnson would be a nice addition with the 3 pick. You know what I mean? So I don't think Damian Lillard will go for nothing like Bradley Beal did. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, he definitely won't. Because if you're trading for Dame, you are significantly increasing your title odds. And if you're the
Yeah,
Heat, you might have been Dame away from winning it all.
sure.
If you're Brooklyn, you know, you're definitely a contender with because you have so many pieces and all you already have so many wings, and you kind of just need that star. Bridges, I think it would be a great number two. Um, and your defense is good enough to make up for Dame, kinda, because Mikal Bridges is a DPOY candidate. Claxton is a great enforcer in the paint. Um, but yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It makes so too much sense, honestly, to trade him. If you trade him with the Heat and you get Tyler Hero and picks back, then hopefully Scoot's available. So you're looking at Scoot, Hero, Shaden Sharp as kind of your core.
Simons.
Simons as well. Um, and if he's not, then you just take Whitmore and you're looking at a similar thing. And Brooklyn, I think, would be your preferred trade target because then you can get Suns picks,
Oh yeah.
which it's kind of risky, but if this Suns thing explodes, they have no other option.
Right.
Like the Suns are kind of an injury away from those picks being really valuable. Key injury away, I guess. But yeah, I would love if they trade them, but I feel like it's been 2 or 3 years where it's like I wish they would just trade them. But I respect what they're trying to do, being loyal to him. That's the other thing. If Dame said trade me to Miami, he's going to Miami. Portland at this point is saying, you know, you've been our guy. You've been so great to us. We're going to do whatever for you, which I respect. Um, but we'll see. I have one more take about the draft, unless you have anything you want to interject with.
Real quick thought on Grady. What would you think? What do you think about Grady Dick?
Um, my friend Will and I do this fun segment with each other where it's is he good at basketball or is he just white? And I think Grady Dick is just white.
Okay.
So I don't think he's that good, pretty much. I think he's kind of like Kyle Anderson, if that makes sense. He'll be a good role player. I don't know if I want to spend a lottery pick on it. Kind of like a
Yeah,
Corey Kispert, you know? These are all insulting things. I understand that, but that's my opinion.
he'll be rich either way.
He will. That's the thing. Um, yeah. Good luck to whoever picks him. Um,
Yeah.
my one thing that I think is very important to say is that Thursday is going to be a wild day.
Yeah.
There's going to be so many rumors going on, and there's going to be a lot of draft trades. And the reason for that, which we went into earlier, is that the next draft sucks. Along with that, the CBA is changing. So a lot of these teams can't keep all these guys they have, so they might need to trade. I think there's going to be a lot of player movement. There's going to be a lot of trades to move up in the draft to get guys they like. It's going to be extremely eventful. I'd be surprised if it's not. But that's why you see things like the Pelicans are willing to trade Zion when healthy, a top 15 player to move up for Scoot, right? That's why you're seeing things like that. Um, it's going to be something to watch, and I'm very excited for it. Hopefully, I don't get disappointed.
We got disappointed.
I'm going to get disappointed. Um, so make sure you're watching because I think it's going to be super fun and one of the best drafts in a while. Because For some reason, we only know the number 1 pick. I thought we would have known the number 2 pick by now, but I guess we don't. Yeah. And another quick thing I have is Derek Lively's a center for the Duke, and I think he's going to be a super, super impactful player in the NBA. And I think he's going to be one of those guys that gets picked really high, and people say it's a reach, but it's not a reach. I think he's going to be like a Robert Williams type of guy where he impacts your team so much.
Got it.
But that's about all I have. You got anything?
How about Jordan Hawkins?
I mean, I don't see a path other than him just being a fantastic shooter for you, for your team. Like, he's going to be a good player, a good role player. I don't see a path to stardom.
So lottery or no lottery on Jordan Hawkins?
No lottery.
Okay, because there was been like some rumors lately that he might get like 14, maybe. I don't know.
I don't even know the draft order.
I don't know, but I think he's dropped to like the 20s now. So
he seems like a contender's gonna pick him.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna quickly look up the draft order just to see. This will be the final thing. Toronto at 13 or OKC at 12. Maybe. I think Miami at 18. I honestly don't think he gets past that. And if he does, Golden State at 19 is picking him.
Got it. Oh yeah.
So I think he'll go ahead of where he's like projected simply because of the teams at those spots. And we're just talking about Jordan Hawkins because we are UConn fans.
Yeah, that's the only reason why. My final thing would be, if you had to bet money, when do you think a trade will be? Like, do you think it's going to be in the top 5? Like, if you think like the first trade will go off, you think it's going to be second pick, third pick, or do you think that it's going to be all just fake rumors and it's going to be later on in the first round?
I think there will be something I could see potentially like Washington's guy is picked before their pick at 8. So they trade down and get a future pick. I could see Utah trading up from 9. I could even see Orlando trading up or down. Because Orlando has 6 and 11. Which that would only move you up like 2, maybe 3 spots, not a ton. I don't know. I mean, there's things you got to realize of OKC, Brooklyn, and Utah have so many picks. If they want a guy, they can get a guy. You know, it all depends on how they value it, right? Is Utah saying Amen Thompson is going to be a superstar? Maybe they trade up with Detroit at 5 or Houston at 4. Who knows? But that's the fun. We don't know, and we'll just have to wait and see.
Yes, sir.
I think that wraps it up. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and enjoy the draft on Thursday. Peace.